welcome to today's service. I'm Reverend Sue Browning. I am the minister who serves the Unitarian Universalist congregations in Easton, Maryland and in Chestertown, Maryland. It is good to be together today. Our guest today is Sana Saeed, and Sana is going to share today her reflections and thoughts on balance in life, particularly in times when things feel overwhelming. So welcome, Sana. We are both anxious to hear your message, and we are particularly excited to welcome you as the new point of contact for our congregations at the Unitarian Universalist Association. Sana recently accepted that position in the Office of Congregational Life, and she'll be the person who's our go-to when we need to learn something about what's going on with other congregations or when we're looking for resources. I think it fits with the message today because when we think about the Unitarian Universalist Association, sometimes called the UUA, it is a group of congregations. It is all the congregations in the United States. They're grouped in regions. And when we think about balance, it's a reminder that just like individuals, we are not on the journey alone. And when things are feeling rocky, we need to reach out to others. Working with other congregations is also part of being a Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are in covenant with others to lift up our values in the world and to live those values out. Sana, we shared her full bio in the newsletters and on the websites, but just a few highlights here. Sana was born in Manchester in the United Kingdom and moved to the United States when she was 16. As a dual citizen, she grew up in a multilingual Pakistani home where she learned Urdu, Punjabi, and English. And she has had the opportunities to travel and study abroad extensively. Most recently, she did a research project which took her to Myanmar, where she worked on a paper documenting the ethno-religious tensions between the Burmese Muslims and the Buddhists. And in 2018, Sana completed her Master of Divinity degree at Harvard. So Sana comes with an incredibly rich background, and beyond this, work in youth programming, work as a chaplain at a university. So it is with great excitement that we welcome you this morning. If you are new to either of our congregations, if you're visiting, if you're new to Unitarian Universalism, we hope you'll seek us out, make sure we know what your questions are. Check out some of the information we have on the website, give us a call, email us. In these times of the pandemic, we are finding we are still meeting new folks and widening our circle all the time. So now, as we prepare to gather, may we come with open hearts and open minds. Come, let us worship. Come all, and let us worship.
Good morning. Words for our chalice lighting today are by Reverend Alice Anacheka Naisman. I invite you to light your chalice with me today. In a time of uncertainty, when everything around us is changing constantly, each day new developments, rising numbers, changing guidelines, when the world we live in suddenly seems upside down and topsy-turvy, we light our chalice to remind ourselves of our grounding in our faith. We remember that the flaming chalice came into being as a beacon of hope during World War II, a secret symbol that offered help. In the midst of it all, we wrap ourselves in the warm light of our familiar flame, a reminder of the strength that emerges when we come together in community. Let us light our chalice.
So we are now at the time in the service where we are going to do our version of Thoughts for All Ages today, but Sana and I thought it would be fun if I interviewed her, because she is not only our guest speaker, she is our contact to the Unitarian Universalist Association. So for our learners of all ages out there, I'm going to get to ask Sana a few questions so we can learn together. So could you tell us, Sana, what does it mean for you to be the primary contact for us? Where do you work? What do you do?
Well, that's a great question, Sue. I'm really grateful to be able to do this with you. Thanks for the invitation. I work from home, so I'm based in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. I am working for the Unitarian Universalist Association's Central East region. We have several regions in the US, and this one is a region that encompasses both Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and some parts of Ohio and West Virginia. So I have, under my role as a primary contact, 40 congregations that I stay in touch with and help be a person that connects folks to resources, offer support when things are confusing, they've got questions, offer networks, connect people to different professionals, other congregations that might be doing things that they're interested in. So I just try to be a networker, connector, like a bridge between people and between leaders and congregations.
So that's interesting. So you get to see a whole lot of different congregations in the area. How do people come to you? We look forward to getting to know you. What are the kinds of issues we might find ourselves calling you about?
Yeah, some people, bring just come to me with general questions, things that they are brainstorming about, and want to just talk to me and brainstorm. Um, Other times, people get in touch with me about financial concerns, thinking about their pledging, thinking about stewardship, planning, and ask me questions around that. People get in touch about leadership development. A lot of the staff in the Central East region do leadership development retreats and trainings. We have a lot of really great trainings that we've offered in the past that are recorded and on the Leader Lab website. So I really encourage you all to check that out. People come to me with governance concerns when they are thinking about.
Well, if we're doing Thoughts for All Ages, tell me, what is governance? What's the short version of what governance is?
Yeah, governance is, for me, anything that involves various groups of people making decisions at the church or congregation. So, for example, there are a group of people that are the board and they make decisions about things that the congregation has asked them to or have voted them into positions to do. And they make policies that help people guide them through making decisions. So governance can be things like that. Governance can be when you have elections at the church for different committees and board. It could be when you're talking about the building and you want to make decisions about fixing different parts of the church building. A lot of governance, I think, was in play when people moved to doing online services and what that would look like. So it has many different facets in congregational life.
Great. So there's lots of things you can help us with. So I can pick up the phone or email you. I know our board presidents are on a list and they hear from you. What if another leader had a question? What if somebody had a question and they were trying to figure out something about music? do you have resources, even if you don't know how to do it, that you could connect our music team or our religious education, religious exploration groups? Do you have
Yeah.
places to connect us with?
Yeah, we have again a lot of resources through our Leader Lab website that have been focused on different areas. So we have on staff Shannon Harper and Evan Carvel Zemer, and those two staff members focus on RE, youth programming, and things like that. Pat Ifanti as well is a
Okay.
really great connection for religious education. Um, and so they've done a lot of work that is on Leader Lab, webinars about different things. The most recent thing we did was um, how to have safe RE programming online and what that looks like in the time of pandemic. So,
And I know a few of our folks did attend that because we've got
oh, great.
an emerging youth group in Easton, and they were sharing some of that information. So what I hope folks hear is there's lots of ways that
Yeah.
as a small congregation we can connect with you. So
Yeah.
my final question, I know you and I have been in the process of working with our board presidents to set up a couple of different meetings. What's going to help you get to know us, the congregation in Easton, the congregation in Chestertown? What are the ways that Sana Saeed likes to get to know a congregation?
Um, well, the first most obvious thing would be to just reach out, email me. We can set up a time to get to know each other, learn more about each other as leaders, and um, brainstorm if you have any questions and ideas coming up for you about things you'd like to do with your congregation. Networking calls that we have right now on a monthly basis are really great ways to get to know me and other staff in the Central East region. So, we have calls that I'm a part of on the second Tuesday and the third Wednesday of the month at this point. And that's open to anyone. And I usually see a lot of people that are leaders at the different congregations I'm a primary contact for through those calls. Um, Keep your information updated through our admins for the UUA website. That helps us keep up to date on who is in leadership, and that helps us stay in touch with you. We can send you emails, call you about different things coming up. There's a lot of really awesome events that the Central East region is hosting. We have New Day Rising that will be held in February, and it's a day-long event where different congregations in the Central East region will be showcasing the ways that they've worked on anti-racism, anti-oppression, and different things at their congregations. And we're hoping to create a space where churches and congregations can dialogue, brainstorm together, resource share. We had a similar event like that for the holiday call. We had a call with about 100 folks from the Central East region about what do we do for the holiday services and how do we do those online? And we ended up having a 30-page resource document that came out of that from the brainstorming. So those are some ways to keep in touch and get to know me.
Great. Well, listen, we are really excited to have you as our primary contact. We know we've gotten to know the prior primary contacts well. It takes time, like with any relationship. So as we hear your words, as we hear your sermon today about balance, we are excited. So Sana, welcome and best in your position with us.
Thank you
Take
so much.
care.
I'm excited to be with you all.
Have a wonderful day.
Our meditation today is by Reverend Nathan C. Walker, titled A Survival Meditation. I invite you to sit comfortably, whatever that may look like for you. Close your eyes as you feel comfortable, or find a spot to focus on. Feel free to turn your video off if you like. Start to focus on your breath, breathing in and out. As I speak, Breathe along with me, dwelling on the words. Let us begin. Breathing in, I'm aware of my pain. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my pain. Breathing in, I am aware of my past. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my past. Breathing in, I am aware of my anger. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my anger. Breathing in, I am aware of my despair. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my despair. Breathing in, I am aware of peace. Breathing out, I am aware that I am worthy of peace. Breathing in, I am aware of love. Breathing out, I am aware that I am worthy of love. Breathing in, I am aware of joy. Breathing out, I am aware that I am an agent of joy. Breathing in, I am aware of hope. Breathing out, I am aware that I am an agent of hope. Breathing in, I am aware.
Now is the time in our service where we acknowledge the joys and sorrows in our lives. It's one of the ways we build community by marking milestones and letting one another know what we're struggling with and what we're excited about. During the time of virtual services, we ask that you email any joys and sorrows you'd like included to me or to either of the offices by noon on Thursdays. So I've gone ahead and I've lit the candles. Our first candle is in acknowledgement of the COVID virus and the many ways it's impacted our lives. It's for the losses, for the families that are struggling, for the uncertainty we are all living with as we wait for vaccines to be developed and as we wait for tests to come back. It's also for the places of recovery, in honor of the healthcare workers, in recognition of the researchers and the essential workers in so many areas that are working to keep us safe. Our second candle today is a candle of appreciation for those who have worked in the electoral processes over these last months, who have worked to get the counts right and have had the courage to stand up and explain and make sure that these results are taken seriously. We didn't have any individual joys and sorrows submitted this week, and so I like this third candle knowing that a lot is going on in people's lives. People dealing with illness, people dealing with holiday planning, places of joy, places of hope in your life. This candle is representative of all of those many aspects of who we are and what we walk with. And the final candle today is a candle. It's the first week in December, and we light a candle in acknowledgement of all of the December birthdays. It is a joy. If you are celebrating in December, we are so glad you were born. We are so glad you are a part of this community. So happy birthday. Let's go ahead and just take a moment of silence in recognition of all that is in our hearts these weeks as we lead into the holiday season. Amen, and blessed be.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation to speak with your wonderful congregation today. My pluralist journey expanded in 2009 when I was hired as Director of Youth Programs at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington in Virginia. Even though I was a Muslim then. Now I identify as a UU with a Muslim heritage and reflect on how today there are a group of ordained UU ministers. Surprise! Back then, I dove headfirst into work and learning about Unitarian Universalism, mostly from teenagers I was supporting. At the same time, I remember visiting my Pakistani Muslim parents in that first month I was hired and witnessing a complete parental freakout. Why? Because my younger brother had Googled UUs only to stumble upon websites declaring it was a cult. Unknown to me, he had convinced my parents I had been hired by a cult. To some degree, I don't think my parents or my brother really cared. They just didn't understand what was happening. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise because I was finally able to sit with my family and talk to them about why I really liked working with Unitarian Universalists. Fast forward 11 years later, I am now in the ministerial track and I work for the Unitarian Universalist Association Central East region. I've been thinking recently about the ways the work I do has been fulfilling and meaningful. But after 8 Zoom calls in one day, I felt like I hit a wall and I needed more balance in my week. As you know, we're in a time of pandemic, a worldwide crisis, yet some of us may be filling up this time with more meetings, more virtual happy hours, more virtual book discussions, and family game times because of the loss of in-person connections. I'm a nerd. I have 3 master's degrees and I'm contemplating a 4th, but I find myself pausing at that thought and thinking, Sana, it's a time of pandemic. The best way to make sure you survive is to reduce stress and keep wearing a mask and washing hands and social distancing. As I was reflecting on what it means to find inner peace and balance in a time of pandemic, I found myself reading over 2 stories that I want to share with you this morning. These stories are from the book Everyday Sacred, a powerful collection of spiritually reflective moments written by Sue Pender and inspired by Buddhist principles. The first story is called Empty, and the second story is called Overflowing Tea. After I read the first story, there will be a moment of reflection. Then I will move on to the second story. This first story is titled Empty. Sue says, I was giving a talk one day to a group of quilters. Quilters love slides. I am awkward around machinery and I don't have a friendly relationship with slides. By chance that morning, I opened the slide box and found nothing there, just the empty tray. I am empty, Sue said, stunned, startled by the truth of that statement. When I first read this story, it made me reflect on the places that I feel empty. It's an overwhelming time in many ways right now. There's this weird feeling of being overwhelmed and yet at the same time not having certainty and knowing enough of what will happen in a few months. Yet when some of us think about being empty, we may feel scared. Does it mean I don't have enough life experiences? Does being empty feel like loneliness and having no friends? Perhaps feeling empty means you'll have to confront the things that you've been avoiding or trying to distract yourself from. Those are all real and valid feelings. Feeling empty can be hard because it feels like nothingness sometimes. But when I think about emptiness these days, I find myself reflecting on the potential in being empty. As poet Jalaluddin Muhammad Rumi, or otherwise known just as Rumi, to many stated, we come spinning out of nothingness, scattering stars like dust. To me, emptiness is not complete nothingness. It doesn't mean that nothing exists at all. Instead, what it could mean is that there is potential for something amazing, maybe a deeper experience. The Dalai Lama once said, we can never obtain peace in the outer world until we make peace with ourselves. To me, this is a call to find balance, process the things weighing us down internally, and explore the ways we participate in the outer world. It is also a call to think about the impact we have if we don't take care of ourselves internally first. It also means that things may not exist the way our grasping self supposes they do. The grasping self in Buddhism is being the part of us that wants to control and wants to know what will happen next. And that makes sense to me these days because right now sometimes things do not make sense the way I would like them to. And perhaps it means letting go of our grasping self. I invite you to sit with our first story and reflect on what things came up in your mind. Maybe notice the places that you feel empty. What does emptiness feel like for you? And while you reflect, I'm going to move into the next story, the second story written by Sue Bender. The second story is titled Overflowing Tea. As Sue writes, over time, I've read 5 books that have told 5 slightly different versions of the same story. I call it Overflowing Tea. The setting changes, but the cast of characters remains the same. There's always a wise Zen monk or hermit living in a remote place and an earnest student who has made a pilgrimage to see him. Traveling a long distance to find his teacher, the student arrives seeking wisdom. The serious student, his head filled with questions, is annoyed and becomes more and more frustrated when his teacher refuses to answer his questions. Pour me a cup of tea, the monk eventually says, and I will tell you when to stop. The dutiful student starts pouring the tea and pouring the tea. The bowl fills and he is horrified, watching it as the tea finally spills out of the cup and over everything. Exasperated, the student finds the courage to speak. Can't you see the cup is full? It can hold no more. And so it is with you, the wise teacher answers. Your mind is full of too many things, too many questions. Only when you are empty will there be room for more knowledge to come in. I am empty, Sue reflects, no longer seemed a doomed prophecy. I would begin with an empty bowl. Where are the places that you feel like you're overflowing with way too much stuff? Maybe too much Zooming, too many emails, too many books to read and things you want to do. Maybe there are too many hard things to deal with or too much time and not knowing what to do with it all. What in your life needs to be emptied right now? These stories make me reflect on the ways I bring myself to peace-building endeavors. We're constantly asked to do things, and sometimes saying no to requests is part of that emptying process when you're too full. But also personally in life right now, I feel like there's a lot of change. Some of us may be feeling overwhelmed by changes at work, at fellowships and congregations. Yet, it could be good to feel full. A few weeks ago, I met a chaplain who described her metaphor for chaplaincy as being a teacup, like the story we read, that is overflowing with tea into a saucer. But she said she was overflowing with good things, and the saucer was a metaphor for the people she is taking care of right now. So she sees the tea spilling into the saucer as sharing some of the good things with her flock. I also sit with what it means to feel empty inside and how to think about it as room for growth and learning rather than a doomed prophecy. As Lao Tzu states, best be still, best be empty. In stillness and emptiness, we find where to abide. Talking and moving, we lose the place. So, how am I finding balance thinking of these ideas on emptiness and fullness? Well, I am practicing drawing boundaries on how many Zoom calls to take a day. My threshold right now is 4. I also like a good old fashioned folk call most days so I can walk outside while speaking. That helps me to focus on taking care of my wellness and at the same time not feeling so exhausted by having to always be on screen. So maybe there's balance there. I've also built in 3 10-minute moments of meditation or reflection to practice breathing and closing my eyes just to let them rest throughout the day. I'm not saying to find inner peace is to be stagnant. Minot Judson Savage, a Unitarian minister, wrote in 1882, "Peace, it is not stagnation, nor simple aimless rest. 'Tis tireless movement onward, impelled by some high quest." Here's another way to think about it. When I did my first master's degree in conflict analysis and resolution, I had to take an introductory course for a semester titled Reflective Practice. In this course, we did endless role plays of conflict scenarios and dialogue work. We incorporated a practice of questioning as a mediator. For example, we asked ourselves questions like, what feelings are coming up for me in this moment? Am I stereotyping one of the conflict parties? Am I being racist? Am I being biased? Where am I feeling triggered? Our implicit biases are hard to recognize when we operate in the outer world, and we all have them. I believe that in order to be the best I can be in moments of crisis and conflict, in moments of dialogue with people with differing views than myself, I need to do the internal work to process the things that impact my ability to be present and know the biases I carry and commit to working on them. We need to process the things that fill us up and empty the things that no longer serve us. My highest quest is for a collective liberation where people are living in a beloved community free from oppression. And I know I can't do that work alone. It takes all of us. It takes all of us committing to doing the internal work as well as the work in the streets to bring about true peace. As we move through today, friends, may we be mindful of the things that sustain us and soothe us. May we reflect on the emptiness and the way emptiness within may allow us to lean into new experiences and be mindful of where we feel full. May we find moments of stillness, peace, and balance. In the next few days, months, years, may we have the courage to say, I'm too full, and be able to lighten the load. And may we be accompanied on this journey that ebbs and flows like a river with a community that strengthens and comforts us towards our higher quest. May it be so. Amen. Wendell Berry writes in a poem, "The peace of wild things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the river, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars, waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free." As we depart today, may you find time to lay down and rest in the grace of the world, outdoors where the peace of the wild things inspire inner peace, stillness, and healing within your spirit. Go in peace, friends.
Thank you, Sana, and thank you everyone who made today's service possible, both those that folks have seen and the many who work behind the scenes. Thank you. So we are now going to extinguish this chalice. This chalice magically was sent to me, the flame all the way from Sana, and we bring it here. We extinguish this chalice, this flame that has passed through the ages, past chalice to chalice. As we extinguish the flame, think about the ways we each find balance in our lives. And may we find not only balance, but may we find abundance in this holiday season. Go in peace. Go in love. Go knowing love surrounds you wherever you may go. Have a great week.